Today, fingers crossed, we take one step closer to Champions League glory. Hello and welcome to part 173 of It's Coming Home. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we're at home against Manchester City in the Premier League and also at home against Roma in the second leg of the Champions League first knockout round. Since you were last with me, this is what we've been getting up to. Loads of green. We obviously thumped Roma in yesterday's video. We've since gone on to thump Wolves, who, remember when Wolves were title challengers? Wolves even won the Champions League, I think, not so long ago. They've fallen off the pace completely, but I don't think I'm wrong in saying Wolves are previous Champions League winners. That might have been a non-league to legend. Well, they were definitely title challengers for a little while, but they've fallen well off the pace. But we also beat Everton and Preston and got through to the next round of the FA Cup, almost by accident, playing the Uves. I'll show you that game in a second. This is what the league table looks like. 9 points clear of Arsenal. They've got a game in hand on us, but we've got a game in hand on Man United. We're definitely finishing top two. We're probably going to win the league. The Premier League is all going really rather well at the moment. Hopefully that continues with Manchester City. Focus is very much switching to the Champions League though for the rest of the season. It would be a bit special to win it this year because we can't do a full squad until next year. That's when all the youths we signed 3 years ago were eligible to play in it. But this is talking of youths, I want to show you the Luton game just to see some of the players who played in that game. Juranovic played a full game. He's just about ready. In fact, this is one of the reasons we sold Sands. He's as good as Jonathan. And bear in mind, I know Jonathan's not in our squad, but Jonathan is a player who's come from Juventus, where he's played regularly in Serie A for years. Italian Serie A Juventus quality defender. Juranovic is already that good, with the potential to get even better. 5-star potential on Juranovic. He's very nearly ready. Aleph, we've looked at a few times before. Another one who's got 3-star current ability, 5-star potential ability. He's got the potential to end up even better than Candemil. We're giving him game time. You're just not seeing much of it because it tends to be in meaningless games that I don't show you, but he's definitely playing. Bogarski is another one. These are the cream of the crop. I mentioned we'd sign loads, and then if we're lucky, maybe 5 of them would turn out to be any good. These are the ones that I'm really keeping an eye on. Bogarski is 19, 2-star current ability, which puts him, not a million miles away from Yamin. Again, though, 5-star potential ability, going to be a very good central midfielder, and he's going to be homegrown at home, because we didn't loan him out. And Blish is another one who is going to be awesome. Still only 18 years old, only showing us 4-star potential ability, but he's already the 3rd best striker at the club, and he's scoring goals, 4 goals from 2 starts in the FA Cup. We need to start giving him some games in other competitions. He's played a few Premier League games off the bench, but they're the ones really at the moment that I'm very much keeping an eye on. Mendes is another one as an attacking midfielder, 5-star potential for Mendes. We've got Gayin, who came in the transfer window as a young winger option. Aulik is the defensive midfielder that we signed. Essa is a centre-back who's going to be very, very good as well. Dempster, I think, is the young English striker. He is the young English striker who's got lots of potential. The future is looking very bright. Obviously, we might not see it if the rest of this season goes well, because as soon as we win that Champions League, the series ends. But obviously, we'd do a 5 years in the future thing, so we'd still check in on those youngsters and the finances. I'm getting ahead of myself. We might not win we probably won't win the Champions League this year, but I'm already thinking it feels like it's close. We are looking very good in the league, and we were very, very good against Roma. So this is a team we're putting out there for the Manchester City game. Watch us lose both games today now. Bring me back down to earth with a bump. We're going with Powell in goal, a back four of Candemil, Beron, Lee and Meyer. Zupancic and Alves in midfield. Binet, Manu and Flager behind Mira up front. We've got Juric was suspended for ages. I think it was in the last episode he got sent off. He got suspended for 4 games for that. He is now available to select again. I don't know if I'm going to bother though, because Binet, in that time, is that how you would say his name? He's French. I think it is Binet. He's come into the side and he's been excellent. So he's going to keep his place. I know Juric was one of the top scorers in the Premier League, but both of them are here on loan. Both of them transfer listed or were transfer listed at their current clubs when they arrived. And we've already seen with Juric that Paris Saint-Germain no longer eager to sell. I don't know if the same can be said for Binet at Arsenal, also no longer on the transfer list at his parent club, so probably already impressed the Arsenal powers that be with what he's done here at home. But neither of them are here permanently. They're both only here for another couple of months. I'll just play whichever one of them's in form. I have no loyalty to either of them. I don't care about developing either of them. Binet came in, took his chance, is the form player. He gets the nod in this as a big game. And to be fair, I don't think he's in the Champions League squad, so Juric is going to play in the next game anyway, so it makes sense on that front as well. What I particularly like about what we've just seen there is we were given the option to say to home against Manchester City, a team such as ours should be winning this match with no problem at all. To be fair, City are down at 10th in the Premier League, but we know Manchester City go through these kind of spells. I think this is our 6th or 7th year in the Premier League at this point, and City seem to go in cycles, presumably according to how much money they spend. So they spend a bunch of money, and we've seen what happens when you spend a bunch of money. It takes time for your players to gel, so they must have spent a bunch of money this summer. The team hasn't yet gelled, but it's probably starting to get better, and next year they'll probably go and win the league again. We saw them do this 2 or 3 years ago. So don't read too much into them being down in 10th place. They'll probably still finish 5th. They're just doing this year what we did last year, presumably because they went out and spent so much money last summer. North, as a perfect example, was at Leicester last year. He's in his 30s and decided to go to Manchester City for the monies at the age of like 31 after spending most of his career at Leicester. I don't blame him at all. I don't blame Leicester for selling him. Manchester City are insane for spending the amount of money on him that they did. But that's just an example of one of the players they went out and threw cash at this summer. Similar to what Arsenal have been slowly doing over the last few years, which is why we've seen an Arsenal resurgence, as they just take home midfielders and build a team out of them. Flager now, looking for a counter-attack just before half-time. Come very much into the middle of the pitch, finds Binet. Binet crosses to Manu, who'd swapped places with Flager. We've got total football going on here, boys and girls. Flager and Manu just swapped over. Binet did his bit on that left-hand side, but watch Manu. I don't know which one Manu is. Is that Manu? It is Manu. So as Flager came inside, Manu drifted out wide to take the spot that Flager was in, leaving Manu available to put the ball into the path of Flager to grab the goal. It was brilliant from both of them. Mayer now with a corner just on the stroke of half-time. If we can make it 2-0 at half-time, that would be a little unfair on Manchester City, I think, but they've actually got the opportunity to make it 1-1 at half-time. They've got an open goal, and that's exactly what they've done. I don't think they deserve that, really. They are ahead on clear-cut chances because they've had that one. But other than that, they're behind on every other stat. And I do feel a little bit hard done by after the first half we've had, especially when we had the opportunity to go 2-0 up. I feel a little bit hard done by to be going in level because I think the quality of our play in general deserves more than drawing at half-time. But there's still time to turn the game around. It gives me the opportunity to be, I'm not going to yell, but I'll be assertive. Not happy with your performance. I mean, we were the better team, but we've not been the best team in the universe in that first half. We could have scored a few more goals. We should score a few more goals. Let's go and score a few more goals. The other thing, of course, is we're keeping an eye on general fitness levels. I mean, we're 4-1 up against Roma from the away leg. I'm not that concerned about necessarily keeping players fit just for that. But if someone drops down to like 65% fitness, we'll probably whip them off just to be on the safe side, especially if we've got a good substitute on the bench for them. Right, the whole defence is playing pretty poorly. We've got Vandy and we've got Juranovic as options to come on at the back. I don't know that I necessarily want to be changing the defence too much. Vandy can come on for Mayer because Mayer is the lowest rating out there. But I don't think I'm going to bring Juranovic on. I don't think he's played a Premier League game for us yet. Oh, he's played a couple. I don't think this is the game for Juranovic to be coming on. So, as not a final change, as a second change, I think I'm going to do my usual Akamo for Mira. Because Mira's just been completely absent again. Just it's the most frustrating position in the squad. And it has been for like 3 years now. We just can't get a striker to score a big pile of goals for us. And it's all I ever wanted, a free scoring striker. Right, we need to pause the game. Alves can be the last change. Cristiano can come on for him. And I think we'll finish the game with 10 minutes of passion as well. I mean, I'm never did I just cancel the change? No, I didn't. I'm never that disappointed with a draw against Manchester City because, like I said, their league position isn't really a true reflection of the quality of player that they've got. But at the same time, look at our league position. We should be beating a mid-table team regardless of who they are. And we've got a final opportunity to do that now. Zupancic with the corner. Akemo gives away the free kick. And that is that. It's going to finish 1-1. We should have done better than that. But fingers crossed, that was the blip of the episode. And we'll go into the Roma game, comfortably win. And then I think, we'll get the Champions League quarter-final draw afterwards. Assuming we don't mess things up. Let's not count our chickens against teams from Rome in European competition. Just don't. It seems my camera didn't record for the first part of the episode. Hopefully it's recording now. If it's not, apologies again. But hopefully you can see me waving. We've made a couple of changes for the Roma game. If I can get that up on the screen. Cristiano comes into the midfield for Zupancic. And we've also got Duric back in on the left-hand side of midfield. Let's get into that game. Remember, we are 4-1 up from the first leg back in Rome. So fingers crossed. This should be relatively straightforward. But, these things are never completely straightforward. But I do expect nothing but a win from this match. Obviously, we have got Van der Horst at the back for Roma. I think he's the number 5. So, no, he's number 4 because he's playing on the left-hand side at the back. So, I think he's their number 4. So, keep an eye out. Oh, no, he's the number 5. Keep an eye out for their number 5 because it's Hans van der Horst, formerly of Holme. My brain's not working. I've just spent the last 10 minutes fiddling with the camera. Everything was ready to go. I was ready to hit record, and then I saw that it still thought it was recording from before, and it wouldn't stop recording, and then the file... Just lots of faffing. We've gone 1-0 up, and that's the important thing. You don't need to know about all the faffing around with the camera. That's behind the scenes stuff. Oh, it's making me hiccup. Oh, ridiculous. Right, 1-0 on the night, 5-1 on aggregate. We're fingertips away from... Is it a quarter-final at this stage, or is it a second knockout round? I ask this at this stage of this competition every year, and I still don't know. I think it's a second knockout round, then a quarter-final, then a semi-final, then a final. Pretty sure that's how tournaments work. Costa now plays it out to Flager. Costa cuts inside. Costa didn't play in the last game either, did he? So that was another change, I think. It's so long ago now, I don't remember. What a goal from Flager, though. 2-0 up, 17th goal of the season from Flager. I'm recording these episodes so far in advance. I'm about a season in advance. So at the moment, as I'm recording this, you still haven't seen the transfer window from last summer. So I don't know how people reacted to Flager. I'm assuming there must have been a few people who were a little bit surprised that I went out and spent quite so much money on a winger when I only bought in one and the other one was on loan. But I think they're both... That summer's transfer business is very much justifying its existence with results this year, and in particular performances from the new signings, something that had been a little bit amiss in recent years. We've brought in a few new players on big money deals, Zupancic, Ricardo, possibly a few more, Dianzi, who never quite reached the levels that... I mean, they were all good signings, or good players, don't get me wrong, but they didn't... Even Alves hasn't quite reached the heights I think I hyped him up to in my head. And then we brought in these two wingers who... They were really just the only ones I could find. There wasn't a huge expectation. We still very much had the plan B to go back to the Diamond, which is why we didn't commit to any more than those two in the summer and ended up bringing in more at Christmas. But I think it kind of helped that we weren't really expecting much. So they've massively overperformed and it feels like a real treat. Right, we have a corner on the 32-minute mark, that famous mark in football matches. And we weren't able to make it 3-0. I mean, we're through to the next round. That should be clear at this point. We're not messing this up from here. Costa with the corner ends up falling to Duric, who's in a shooting position on his stronger foot, but it goes just wide. And that's one of many, many, many shots that we've already had in this game. 12 shots, 7 of them on target. We're dominating possession. We're all but through to the next round in a very dominating fashion. I'm not sure how good Roma are. I don't know where they've been finishing in Serie A recently. Like I said in the first leg, the fact that they've signed Van der Horst suggests they're not like a top 10 team in Europe. I wouldn't class them as quarterfinal material. So I'm going to try not to get too far ahead of myself. The fact that we're playing them now, I think this round is seeded as well. So we won our group, so they must have finished second in theirs. But it's a big confidence boost to win so comprehensively against a team that traditionally I'd expect to be quite good. We've got the chance to make it 3-0 on the night just before half-time with Juric, and he scores 3-0 to home, 7-1 on aggregate, and that's now goal number 15 for Juric, who surely is going to be joining Cesar Sanz in the Paris Saint-Germain starting 11 next season, because the form that he's shown for us, I can't imagine the kind of player they must have playing on their left wing if they don't want to at least sit him on their bench next year. He was sat there on the transfer list in the summer. They had no intentions of ever using him. Well, he's been a star of the Premier League. He's proving to be a star in the Champions League. I've got to believe he's a better player than Cesar Sanz, and if they've got room for him, then they've got room for Juric, surely. But Roma, just after half-time, trying to get a little bit of an attack going. Candemil and Alves conspire to snuff it out, and it's with Meyer, who plays it to Flager. Flager charging down the right-hand side, tried to nip between two Roma players, couldn't quite get there, but the highlight continues, so something is afoot. Meyer wins the ball back on halfway line. Costa's come deep to pick up the ball, and that is a piece of beautiful football from Costa. He shaped to shoot and then just slotted it into the path of Juric, and Juric gets his second of the night, his 16th of the season. Costa was phenomenal here. A lot of good work from Meyer on that right-hand side as well, but look at this from Costa. Just beat one man there, then he's beaten another one, and that little pass into Juric was stunning. We see Costa score some spectacular goals, but to see him capable of doing that kind of thing as well, we really do have. I mean, he's already described as an elite attacking midfielder. Got to believe he's one of the best attacking midfielders in the world, surely. In his position, he starts every game for Spain. He starts every game for us, apart from the last one where Manu played. But he's so good, Manu doesn't even get called up into the Spain squad. And he's just a sensational footballer. Flager. And Flager has done it again. And it's 5-0 on the night. 9-1 on aggregate at goal 18 for Flager. Costa with yet another assist. Look at that from Costa. What a pass. But Flager still had a lot to do. He's beaten one man there. Then he beats Van der Horst and then shoots on his weak foot into that far corner. And both of our wide men are sat there on hat-tricks. Costa's already got 2 assists for the night. Even Mira's weighed in with a goal for once. And now poor old Van der Horst trying to work out what on earth to do. He's seen his former team score 9 goals in a game and a half. And now Meyer intercepts again. It's with Flager again, who has skinned Van der Horst again. And it's Juric, and that's his hat-trick. Goal 17 of the season for Juric, who was the villain of the last episode. He has been superb. It's, 10 minutes since I was talking about playing t'other fella against Manchester City, and then we struggled to score goals. Juric has just underlined with bells on who our first choice left winger is, with an absolutely superb performance against Roma. And now we've got to be hoping for a Flager hat-trick as well. Let them both score hat-tricks. They have ripped Roma apart this evening, and I want a record win. I don't know what Holme's record win is, but with 20 minutes still to go and more attacking players still on the bench, we've got to be looking for another couple of goals. What is the club record? It would be lovely. We haven't set a club record for a long time, and it would be very, very nice to set a record high-scoring game in a Champions League knockout match. That would be very, very cool. Let's have a look on the bench to see what we can bring on to try and help us do exactly that. I'm not going to change anything on that front line there. That would be mad. Cristiano can come off for Yamin. Alves, we don't really have anyone. In fact, you know what? Manu can come on for Alves. Let's just rest them both. Play both of those in midfield. We've got Royo and Akemo, who could both come on as attacking options if we need them. I'm probably more inclined to take off Candemil with 10-15 minutes to go and give Aleph a little bit of game time in a game like this. It's absolutely not going to do him any harm. In fact, he's going to come on at the end of this highlight Juric, though, ripping a hole through Roma again. It falls to Yamin, falls to Manu. Costa now, trying to conjure up some more mischief. Mayer with the cross. It falls to Candemill. It's going to be his last touch of the game, and he scored. It's Holme 7, Roma 1. Our captain has just scored the 7th goal of the match. Our two fullbacks combining. Costa did that at walking pace. They're so afraid of him that he could just walk through their D, pick his pass, and Costa has been superb in this game. And we are going to take off Candemill now, get Mark Aleth on, and just get 15 minutes of Champions League fun into his repertoire. Poor old Van der Horst, I do feel sorry for him, but I think I probably need to drop a little bit of praise on the lads for the way they've played this evening. Is 7-1 our biggest ever win? Does anyone remember a bigger one? 11-2 on aggregate. Surely the rest of Europe is sitting up and thinking, hang about, what's all this about? They don't even own their own ground. They're from a poxy village in Cambridgeshire. We don't even know what a Cambridgeshire is. Costa again looking for number 8, finds Mira. Mira he's had a good game today. He's not been mentioned much. He's not been headline grabbing, but he's got himself a decent score and a goal. We've got 15 seconds left. It's with Powell. Just shoot from there. I'd love a Powell goal in this Champions League match. Juric now plays Aleth in. Aleth tries to get the cross away. He can't, but Juric can. Flager keeps the ball in, but can't get a shot away to try and complete his hat-trick. But we have just won 7-1 in a Champions League knockout game. Is it a club record? That's what we all want to know. Even if it's not, it's some lovely, lovely stuff. We got £8.5 million for that as well, which is very handy. Let's just have a look at the club records. What is our biggest win? Surely biggest win is a record that's actually tracked, isn't it? Biggest win was 9-0 against Altrincham in the National League North 16 years ago. So, and our highest scoring match was an 8-6 win against Cleethorpes. I don't even remember that. That's mad. So yeah, it doesn't set either record, but still 11-2 on aggregate against Roma. I'll take it. Let's see who we get in the next round. Here we go then. Champions League quarter-final draw. So, had we already played someone before Roma? No, so it does just go knockout round and then quarter-final. So is it the Europa League that has an extra round between the two? Let's not worry. We're into the quarter-final of the Champions League. So it's Barcelona, Dortmund, Lazio. So Dortmund and Lazio both there, who have been previous villains. Barcelona, Dortmund, Lazio, Schalke, Bayer, Home, that's us, Real Madrid and Tottenham. So ideally, I think, they're all hard, aren't they? One of the German teams, probably. Or maybe Lazio, because we beat them last year, would be nice. Right, Real Madrid. We don't want Real Madrid. They took one of the teams we did want. Borussia Dortmund, we definitely don't want, because they owned us last year. They've taken Lazio. So, Barcelona, Schalke or Tottenham. I'll take Tottenham or Schalke, please. This one would be perfect. Away against Schalke in the first leg would be perfect. Perfect. And then Tottenham against Barcelona. That feels like a route through to the Champions League semi-final to me. How good are Schalke? Schalke are top of the Bundesliga. Well, there you go. That's what happens when in 2038 you base your view on who's any good on 20 years in the past. They're not only top of the Bundesliga, they're further top of the Bundesliga than we are of the Premier League. They are probably the last team we wanted to play. So maybe not a guaranteed semi-final spot after all, but I think that will probably be... I think we'll probably do both legs of that in the next home episode. Is there going to be an England episode in between? Am I going to bother showing you that? I think it's just friendlies before the World Cup. So actually, I'm probably not going to show you the next England. No, I'm not going to bother showing you friendlies. So tomorrow's episode will be the Champions League quarter-final. Both legs against Schalke. And this could be the season, boys and girls. Brace yourself. We could be in the end times for home. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.